Welcome back, everybody. We did a lot of cleanup between last episode and this episode, so I want to show that off to first start. We kind of tightened the base up a little bit, got rid of all this old water down here that was the polluted water and the brine and the salt water. So now everything that is coming in from the sorter at the bottom gets dropped off directly into here. We got this pretty dialed in, so now this will fill up with water in this chamber. It will turn to steam, get dropped off in this chamber where it cools down a little bit. The issue I was having was I was trying to cool the water down much farther than I am, so it was causing a backlog, which was causing heat to build back up. Still having some issues with the aqua tuners, I think, but I think we got it all worked out. So what we have is a tank that is just mixed liquids that gets dropped off here from various sources, and then they're processed through here, and that provides us with dirt and salt and water, and then the water comes up here through where our old water sorting system was, and then now we just have the one tank which is just clean water. It fills up all the reservoirs first, and then it starts to fill up the tank just like it used to. And then at the bottom we have 3 lines of water going down to our oil wells and one going over to our oxygen maker, and then this last line here goes up to the bathrooms. And so they're all prioritized, so the bathroom always has water, the oil wells always have water, and Spalm always has water, but it's only turned on if we have an excess of water or a lack of oxygen. So that's why this line isn't moving. These aren't moving because they don't use as much as we're sending down, which is fine. We also added in a little complex filtration system here. All it does is, if anything were to get into the water tank that isn't water, and it comes through here, it gets filtered back out and drops back into the drain. The only thing allowed through is water. That way we don't end up with keep getting issues where we have things like polluted water getting into the oil wells, which then gets into our rooms down here, because we had that happen a couple more times. So all is well down here. We're still pumping up oil like crazy. We're actually getting an excess of it because at the moment we turned off, we didn't turn off, we slowed down petroleum production. So this is set at 1500 grams per second. So that controls the amount of oil that's allowed in, because we started to get a backlog of petroleum in here and we didn't want it to fill the system back up. The reason it's getting a backlog is because up here we changed the automation around and cut off 7 of our 8 petroleum generators, so we just have 1 running right now. Mostly because we didn't want to have so much polluted water to deal with until we had that sorted out, and then we had such a huge backup of carbon dioxide, so now we're letting it slowly work its way through this backlog. Our slicksters, we doubled the size of the farm, and so now what happens here is I removed the old kill chambers I had set up. Now there's just one of them at the end of each row. All of these chambers hold 7 slicksters, and we're repopulating these 2 at the moment with using these farms, but the incubators. But these are all set at 7, and their priority is set at 7. So once those are all full and there's nowhere else for them to go, then we have these can hold 20, and they're set at priority 5, both of these. And so that means that there will always be a place for these incubating slicksters to go to. And then as soon as you get more than 7 in either of these rooms, they start to get killed off in these little chambers. So basically, when these were over here on each of these, it was causing problems with egg production. Now these can all stay happy and produce eggs for us, And then these, it doesn't matter to me if we have issues with them producing eggs. I don't need these 2 chambers to produce eggs. They're just there to make sure that we have somewhere for the slicksters to go out of these incubators as they go. And we can tell that it's working because we don't have any slicksters that are getting released from the chambers. The duplicates always have somewhere to go with our slicksters as they're born. I do want to add in automation to bring the eggs up here so that they're right near the incubators, and probably change up the hatchery so that it's all automated, so that I'll use auto sweepers to place the eggs in rather than having duplicates come in. But for now it's fine. They need to come up here to lullaby them anyway. We also need to probably change up our cooling, because right now we have just this one cooling loop that is cooling down the bedrooms, the water tanks, and the hatchery, and the it's trying to cool down the slicksters, but there's just so much carbon dioxide in here that it's hard to change the temperature of it. But so we have the loop coming up through here. It's pushing the heat off from the power system, so it's not working its way down quite as much. We do have a cooling loop up here that we still need to do some work on that is supposed to cool down the power plants, but again, with so much gas built up, it's been hard to keep up with the temperature. I probably will put in another cooling loop that just cools off these, that way this one isn't so overtaxed, but we'll let it go and see how that goes as far as what it's done. But so basically now we have a steady supply of water coming back in, not quite at the rate I would like, so we'll still continue working on that in the future to try to get it more what we want. But we do have water being processed. What we want to watch is to see this tank is receiving all of our polluted water, and so we want to see, is the water in this tank slowly going down or slowly going up, and then that way we'll know which way we need to work on, either producing processing more water, or if we can turn on more power generators. But so we have water taken care of, so water's coming in at a steady enough rate to keep up with everything. We have food now coming in at a very steady rate. We're back up to 2.5 million calories of barbecue from our excess slicksters. Our egg production is at 60, or the eggs in stock are at 66, even with all of these being full. So we have some slicksters that are just being turned into meat right down here in the storage, because their eggs are sitting around long enough to incubate on their own, which takes 20 cycles. But as long as we continue to have egg production getting either staying stable or getting higher, we should have food sorted forever. So basically we are at the point now where we can set off to our colony that we have wanted to do for several episodes, and so we're going to get set up to do all that. We just need to get our teleporters all in line so that they're all activated and ready to go, and we need to get our actual teleporter set up so that we can send our first duplicate through. So I'm going to do a few preparations for that so that we have these working before we send Sai over, and then we will spend this episode doing our first steps onto the Gurgani asteroid. Just realized that we didn't actually show off the changes we made in the base because we did them on stream. So I just want to show the bedrooms that we did here. Basically, we made these smaller bedrooms so that we can have just 2 of them to support 20 duplicates, because that's how many we're going to have in the main colony here. And we put a lot of statues in, which helps with the decor, so that they are getting a nice bomb of decor every time they sleep. And they also get the buff from the carpeted tile, which helps reduce their stress while they're sleeping. So if we do have any stress problems, just going to sleep at the end of the night will help the duplicates get healed. We also added in a a gin. So basically, we're trying to bring in some new duplicates, but if we look at Devon here, Devon does not have any skill points yet, so which means I cannot put them in exosuit training. Which means if they were to go outside of the base in an exosuit, they would move so slow that they would not be able to make it anywhere before they had to turn around and come back. So we set this up so that only duplicates we allow are allowed out of the base. So Devon and Max, our two new duplicates that we picked up, are not. And we set this room up so that the only duplicates we allow are allowed in here. So since Devon and Max have no tasks to do inside the base, they will come in here and just run endlessly on these generators, powering the ceiling lights. The ceiling lights help to increase their skill generation because they are in a lit workspace. So they work faster, which means they gain experience faster. So they'll stay in here until we get enough skill points that we can skill them up to the point where they can get the exosuit training. In fact, Max just got brought in, so we can give them the first point into rocket pilotry, which leads down to exosuit training. So they just need to gain 4 levels, and then they will be able to leave the colony and join the workforce. So that that makes it so that we can continue to expand our colonists. We want to get up to 20 out of 20 before we go off to our new colony. So while we get our final preparations ready for our adventure, we'll be taking the next 4 duplicates that come in, assuming that there are ones that are worthwhile. But I wanted to show you that. I also got a colony achievement while we were doing the cleanup in the base, so let's check out and see what that achievement is. So we got job suitability, which is for 10 cycles in a row, have every duplicate in the colony complete at least one chore while in an exosuit. So by making it so that everybody has to wear an exosuit when they leave the base, we got that one finally. So we are slowly knocking out all of the base game achievements, which is pretty cool. We're going to do an episode coming up soon where we just go through and knock out some of the ones that we can do pretty easily and go get them done. But yeah, pretty happy with all the changes we've made so far. The base is getting to be very sustainable. Still needs a lot of work on cleaning projects up, but at this point now it's a matter of finalizing projects, not continuing to keep the base alive. So alright, we'll be back once we have the teleporting stuff set up and everything how I want it to go before we leave for the new colony, and hopefully by then we'll have our 20 duplicates all ready to go. Making some good progress on some minor changes, but we had a bit of an issue with some oil backing up here. The oil was backed up so far that it filled up this chamber, so this chamber filled up with 20 slicksters who could not drown because they can't get below the oil. Which is why I had this second one set up, just in case something like this happened. What I did to fix it, first of all, I put an airflow tile there, so if an air bubble gets trapped there, it can get pushed out. But the second thing I did is I added in some different piping up here at the top to just prioritize the oil coming from below. And I'm just shifting it over now because I didn't leave enough space for the other line. But so basically this will come up to the top. Oh, actually I need to go one more. This oil will come up to the top. It will hit this priority junction, and so it will go first before the oil coming in from the oil biome. And so this should make it so that once this gets emptied out, it will stay emptied out, and the oil from the slickster farm will be prioritized over oil that's coming in from the oil wells, which is how we want it. So I'm going to put in a new pipe there, and cut this off. So what we're going to do is have this pipe come over like this, which which means I can cut off this one and this one. This bridge can go, and then this can resume its normal path. But so the oil comes up here, it goes across this bridge. Once this bridge is deconstructed, you'll see it. But it'll come across this liquid bridge, it'll go through this pipe and connect here, and so you can see that this oil is moving while this oil is not. And so this pipe will always have priority over the other line. As a temporary fix, I had put in a drain to drain off some oil into the oil pit. I don't want that to keep going yet, because I'm not ready for that, so I'm just going to cut this off and let this resume its normal path. It should still drain out that pipe because we're going to be using the oil, and so it's going to use the oil from here first. So the only issue is if we're going to be, you know, we have, I should actually cut off the top one temporarily, because we're still only running 1.5 kilograms of oil per second. Looks like we're still having breakage problems in here. I'm having issues with overheating. I'm not sure why. Probably because I moved the pipes. But as long as the Slickster farm is not producing more oil than 1.5 kilograms per second, this should empty out. So we'll see in a little bit once this keeps going if that is the case. Okay, so this is okay. Cool. It's starting to pull some oil through. That's good. Let's clip off the top here too. We're just gonna. I don't want it using the oil from the top line because then we're not using 1.5. So I really want to test to see if this is producing more than 1.5 kilograms per second. It should be producing. Let's take a look at it. It should be producing. How much oil do they make per second? Doesn't say. I thought it was 20 kilograms per second, but that might be how much carbon dioxide that they're absorbing. That makes more sense. So yeah, we'll just let it run and see if this goes down. We still have this kill chamber up top, so things won't get backed up. I mean, they might a little bit. As you can see, there are some down here, but we also put in a secondary steam turbine with cooling just for the incubators, so now we can turn all the incubators back on, because we had them, half of them shut off because of, actually they're just losing power. Why are they losing power? Oh, we're not producing enough. Okay, well that means we definitely need to reconnect one of these petroleum generators, which means that we're now consuming 4 kilograms of oil per second. So let's bump this up to, still want to be running a deficit because I want to drain out some of the petroleum pit. So we're going to run 3,500 oil through. Somebody will have to come and update that. Has that fixed our power issues? Load 17 kilowatts. They need to go to a third one. Looks like we got everything running full bore to keep up with the system. Yeah, let's connect the third one. I think what I'm going to end up doing, I'm not going to do it right now, but I think I'm going to change this automation to make it so that the top row only kicks on to burn off extra, and the bottom row is what kicks on when the power is needed. That way I can control it separately. But it looks like 3 of them was enough to kick it on. So that'll drain extra petroleum. We're using 6. So let's change this to produce 5. And that should handle things. That'll also let us test this heat flow here. Because I think the problem we were having with the pipes was that it was getting hot enough because we're sending a smaller amount of oil through and we have less heat to exchange with it. Or more heat to exchange with it, rather. But we'll see. Now we have 5 kilograms a second going through. We'll let that run for a while and check. So this steam turbine is just cooling off this section that has the incubators in it, which means that this one can go back to just cooling off the base. So it is slowly cooling everything back down. It was just too much of a load for this to cool off everything. So, as far as getting set up to go to the new colony, which is what I was working on, we have activated this teleporter. So this is the supply teleporter input. So when it says 1 out of 2, that means that the output on the other end is still disabled because we haven't gone over there. But now it is enabled, and I've connected an oxygen line off of our oxygen storage to it. So when we get to the other base, if we're having immediate oxygen problems, all we have to do is go find the supply teleporter output, activate it, and then hook up a vent to the oxygen line, and then we will have oxygen pumping through at 1 kilogram a second, which will be enough for our duplicates to breathe. And so I think that we're going to take our first steps over to the new colony right now, and we'll do it together because I'm not sure what's over there. So Sai's been prepping for his journey. So all we do is send him into the teleport transmitter. Ready to transmit. Alright. There we go. We're going to run this on slow for the minute. So Sai is now a member of the Gurgani colony. So the first thing we need to do is just kind of look around and see. We do have a teleport transmitter here, which is our way to get back. I believe it's our way to get back. Yes. So that transmitter takes us back to the receiver here. I don't think we can use it right away. I think we have to wait for it to charge. Actually, we might be able to use that right away, but we can't use this again until it recharges. So, okay, let's take a look around here and see what we have. So we have some water, which is good. There's a lot of polluted oxygen. Looks like we're on a swamp asteroid type, so it's going to be a little bit different than what we had on the other side. I think the first thing that we're going to do is wake up this friend, because what that's going to do is put us over 20 total duplicates. So that gives us our colony achievement. So we got the teleport a duplicate and defrost a friend on another world. That is one of the DLC achievements. We should also have gotten the 20 duplicates. Yep. No place like clone. Have at least 20 living duplicates living in the colony. So we got those both knocked out. Okay, so let's see what we got here. First things first. We need to take Sai's suit off because he doesn't have an exosuit dock here. Okay, so first things first. Chrono is going to be the name of our new duplicate because it just seems fitting. What do we have as far as skills and traits? Let's check it out. Looks like she is skilled in construction and medicine. That's good. Sai's probably going to hurt himself. Iron Gut, Irritable Bow, Banshee. That one I've never dealt with before. If we don't get her too stressed. But it looks like everything is fine as far as that. It's always a risk with opening the cryo tanks because you're kind of stuck with whatever duplicate you get. So I think our priorities here are going to be to get a bathroom set up. So I think I'm going to do that over on this side past the teleport receiver. So let's make a little path over here. And we're going to just start with the basics like we did on the other colony until we get things set up. So eventually we will get a full colony set up here with all the bells and whistles. But for the start, I just want to set up a wash basin and a outhouse. Actually, let's do 2 of them. So we'll do another wash basin and then 2 outhouses. We really put some blocks underneath. And then we're going to want to put a ladder down. Let's just go to there. And we'll dig a path across to here. And we'll put in a pitcher pump so that we can get some water for our toilets. Set this on direction right, or I'm sorry, direction left. Looks like, what kind of metal do we have here? Cobalt is going to be our metal of choice here. We'll dig some of that out while we're digging down here, so we can get the doors and everything set up. Okay, so now we have 2 different colonies now, so as far as schedules go, Sai is still on his night shift, of course. But that means that we want to put Chrono, her name hasn't updated yet, onto first shift, so that they're not on the same shift. And then once we get some more duplicates over here, we'll balance the schedules out a little better. But like Sai needs to use a bathroom already. We'll get one set up as soon as we can, little buddy. Let's make this priority 7. And these priority 7 as well. Oh, we have some ethanol. There's our supplied teleporter input. But what we want to find is our output. Because we want to use the oxygen coming from the main base rather than set up new oxygen right away. But I don't see it immediately available. We're going to also just finish off this area as a bit of a room, so when we put a door in, it'll be a latrine. Because I'm sure we're going to need the morale as much as we can. Making a mess in our water already. It's alright. Gotta get this bathroom up. It looks like we have quite a challenge ahead of us here on this new asteroid because everything is different. We have different types of materials. We have different types of plants. We'll probably set up a pack-hoot farm here because we don't have one of those set up yet. We have some plug slugs we could do for power. That would be an interesting setup. I have never done those before. So I need to get one more tile underneath that outhouse. I also want to put a ladder down here. This side. Because it's always good to be able to get to the bottom of your water pit. Okay, so we should have metal now, so we can make a door. I'm going to put a ladder up like this, and decon this wall. And then we're going to also build a ladder downwards. I want to see what we're looking at. Mostly, I really want to find that supply teleporter in output. Okay, so we'll be back once we get a little exploration done and find out what we have to deal with here. This episode's definitely getting a bit long. I knew it was going to be a little bit longer because of trying to get started on the new asteroid, but we're already over the 30-minute mark. So I'll just briefly say that we did find the supply teleporter output. So we're going to build up there to set up a vent to have some oxygen coming in the base. And so then we'll just need to start working on getting a proper bathroom set up and getting a food supply set up. And I think that we're going to do the bog buckets here on this one because there's something new and there's something different. So it'll be interesting to try to get them set up. So that's what we're going to focus on the next episode. But sorry for the slightly longer episode this time, but wanted to get a good footing into the new asteroid so we could get started on the next one. So I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.